All right, you can bet it's Phil and Rye back on Listen Up. UConn stand up. You're in the Sweet 16, and we are here to preview, Ryan. We'll call it the last check-in, like we have all regular season long. The Ohio State University versus the UConn Huskies. And this game takes place Saturday, 4:00. You told me on ABC. And get this, the only nationally televised game, all the other ones are on ESPN. So we want to thank ABC for that. I know that you're hyped up about that. That speaks volumes. A lot of people do not pay attention to that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, go figure. UConn, the only team on ABC. So take it for what it is. And just think about that. Wrap your mind around that a little bit, Ryan, as we check in with you for the last time before Saturday rolls around. It's crazy because I was watching some highlights. Hopefully you can break it down for me and try to help me understand this better. I'm kind of actually very concerned. UConn, they can't afford to come out like they did against Baylor. I'm going to say that much. And we have to remember the Buckeyes started the season 19-0, and that was without their star guard, J.C. Sheldon. All right. She missed like 20. I'll look it up here while you're going. I think 23 games. But again, she's a big reason why they have returned to the Sweet 16. I was watching a lot of highlights from Ohio State, and that full court pressure, the full court press that they put on their opponents. Oh my. And boy, when you speak about UConn and their turnover issues that they've had all season long, they fixed it some, but what does Ryan have to think about this matchup against Ohio State, Sweet 16?
Well, I think it should be a pretty good game. I'm definitely excited for it. And like you said, we all love nationally televised games. So I'm glad it is on ABC on Saturday. Should be a lot of good games coming up on the women's side for the Sweet 16, of course. But a couple of things I want to mention before we start to talk about the Buckeyes a little bit more. This will be our 200th video on this channel. So it doesn't seem like that, but time, it really does go by pretty fast. So again, you guys have showed amazing support throughout the past 2 years, and we hope we can do this for many more years to come. Also, Aaliyah and Lou were selected as WBCA Region 4 All-American finalists. And also, most importantly, happy birthday tomorrow to Gino Oriema. Coach will be celebrating his 69th birthday.
Whoa. Do you need a cane or a walker yet, Gino, when you get out of bed?
Well, I mean, I'm glad he's back healthy because he did have a couple health struggles, a couple of things that he had to miss a couple games this season. So we're definitely glad to have him back healthy. But on to Ohio State. They've had quite the ride this year. Buckeyes started the year 19-0. Looked like one of the best teams in the whole league, up there with South Carolina and LSU for most of the year, ranked at 13 as well for the majority of the season. Then they lost their 5 of their next 7 games after that in the Big Ten tournament. There, they got it rolling again, made it to the final where they would get blown out by Iowa. And then in March Madness, they come in as a 3 seed, defeat James Madison with ease, and were able to hang on against North Carolina. Ohio State's starting 5 consists of 3 seniors: guard Taylor Mikesell, guard Jack Sheldon, and forward Ebony Walker. Also in the starting 5, you have forwards Cody McMahon and Taylor Theory. So I mean, like you said, UConn, they definitely can't start out like they did against Baylor in that first quarter. A little concerning, but also as well, Mikesell and Sheldon, they're definitely really good 3-point shooters. They're going to knock them down if UConn allows them to get open. So Ohio State also not a bad rebounding team. I was watching them a little. Walker and McMahon are pretty nifty forwards down there who can rebound and drive the ball pretty well. So Huskies are going to have to play disciplined defense, but also find a ways to create some takeaways like they have been doing throughout the first 2 games so far of this tournament. But not allowing Ohio State to get on a big run, it will definitely help as well. A lot of times in March Madness or just in general in basketball, it's always a game of runs. So it's always good if you can keep the opposing team from not going on those big runs and you find yourselves in a deep hole, UConn usually does a pretty good job of not allowing to get their, get behind of their opponents. So, like I said, I think it should be a good game. I think Ohio State matches up a little bit better than what Vermont and Baylor have against UConn. But again, I think it's just,
You're going to find yourself saying that each time, each new round. All right, just to warn you right now, not to break anybody's bubble in Husky Nation, but Ryan, you're going to keep saying that over and over as we get later and later.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. But another thing I think I'm gonna say probably every single game, and like Gino has said, just the bigs for UConn, Dorka and Aaliyah. Gino has said if they play well, this team can go really far and possibly make it to the championship. So, it doesn't come down to just one or two players for UConn, of course, but Dorka and Aaliyah are definitely some of the X factors for UConn throughout this whole tournament, just their size down low.
Switching gears over to the UConn Huskies, Ryan, they really dominated the third and fourth quarters. What do you any concern rather coming out? Although I have to say it now, I'm going with the UConn Huskies in this one. I know we dropped the the tradition of predicting scores. I'm not going to predict a score, but I am going with the Huskies on Saturday. Any concern for you down the stretch if you see not only Ohio State stick around with the Huskies in the first and the second, like Baylor, but how about if Ohio State sticks around with the Huskies in the third and the fourth quarters as well?
Well, I think it is definitely always concern, but I think for UConn, especially what we saw last year, they were able to always come out on top, and that's what they've done. It seems like always. So, but I mean, more specifically, just this season as well, we've seen it. They've stuck with teams and found a way. Might not have the best first or second quarter, or perhaps coming out of halftime, but they always seem to find a way in the end to pull it back
And
in
that's
the
all that
fourth
matters,
quarter.
right?
And find a way to win. So that's something that UConn is always good at. And it's definitely a good trait to have going into March Madness. Again, the free throws, I think, are always an important part. I think UConn's done a pretty good job of the free throw shooting so far, had a couple misses in that first quarter. I can remember last game, but always the free throw shooting is definitely an important part. And eventually it might come Saturday, it might come perhaps in the Elite Eight, Final Four, but eventually one of these games is going to come down to the last couple minutes and the free throw shooting. So there's always so many factors that go into these games, but I'm sure this will probably be definitely a pretty close game. But of course, I am going with UConn. But yeah, I mean, I think Ohio State brings a lot to the table, but I think UConn is going to be able to stick with them and eventually pull away in the end.
And that's how we saw Baylor, Nikki Collins ball club, right? That's how we saw them inch their way back into the game, was kind of tear down your opponent with the fouls. And again, that's why I was talking about Aaliyah Edwards, especially her and Dorcas, stay out of foul trouble, because think about if you take them two out of the game. I know we don't want to, they're like, Phil, do not even say that. But think about it. I mean, if you don't have them two down low, who do you go to? Yeah, Easy Fudge, she's talented, but who do you really go to down low? I mean, that's a lot of size to guard. And we talked about it over and over again. So again, I think if Ohio State, not only do they want to, it's dangerous, right? Because again, if the UConn Huskies can somehow attempt to overcome the full court press that Ohio State possesses, and especially I do expect it a lot in this ball game. If UConn can get the ball up the court quick, it's Ohio State might be finished early, only because, again, if Dorka and Aaliyah Edwards can find themselves open early and often, like we call it, again, we could see another comfortable lead, maybe even by halftime, right? Speak a little bit about the fearless freshman, Cody McMahon. And again, Ryan, she finds herself in the starting five, like you told me. But boy, oh boy, I mean, this is probably a name. I just wanted to speak about her very quickly, because not only in this game here, this is a name, man, that you want to remember for the sophomore, junior, and senior times during her career, because she has really been rising to the occasion very quickly. And they turn the ball. And I talked about the full court pressure. They turn the ball over too a lot, and they force points off of them turnovers. So that's something UConn has to watch. But again, I expect Ohio State to definitely go back on the tape and watch the first and the second quarters when Baylor played UConn, Ryan, because it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, and part of that from Baylor was their 3-point shooting, and I don't think Ohio State tends to take a lot of threes. They definitely do shoot the three ball, and like I said, with Sheldon and their other guard there in the starting five, they can definitely hit those 3-point shots. But I think you raise a good point with the turnovers as well, and we saw that with UConn. They struggled a lot in the regular season with those turnovers, but knock on wood, it hasn't been a problem of late. So hopefully we don't start seeing that become a problem for UConn. But I think as well, I mean, it's just so great to have AZ and Caroline and everybody back healthy, because we talk about how well UConn is able to move the ball on offense now, get it down to, like I said, Dorka and Aaliyah. But then when you can pass it out, teams start guarding around the paint, and you can pass it out to players like Caroline and AZ, who are pretty consistent shooters from long range and also inside the paint. Nika can drive the ball as well. So it's great to see the offense. Like I said, last recap, the whole team is in sync, and it's great to see good ball movement, and everybody seems to be on pace with each other. So it's just a good vibe right now. So hopefully, they can take care of Ohio State and make yet another Elite Eight appearance.
All right, let's go down the road for a couple comments. Jason D'Amico, if AZ played solid for just 3 quarters in a game, UConn would be unbeatable. She needs to heat up quicker. My old heart can't take the suspense. Peace, fellas.
Well, I wish every game would be like the Tennessee matchup when UConn scored about 30 points in the first quarter. But unfortunately, that's probably not as realistic as it might seem. But I definitely think it is important for UConn to come out to hot starts and get it going early. But it's also probably more important for UConn to go that distance for all 4 quarters and stay hot for the whole game, because it's definitely important when you're going down to the stretch in the 4th quarter to have a lead and also maintain that lead.
Oh man, the good and the bad comments, the ugly comments. We love everybody that comes through. Believe me when I say that. How about, I know you like this one, and I'm trying to find it. KDB Wiz. The hats are in postseason shape. Yes. Let me bend them a little bit more, Ryan, before Saturday, man. Because I can tell you, this game against Ohio State, this hat might actually be tore to shreds by the time that game is over from the nerves out of that one.
I'm sure they're going to be bent even more and more each time we come on during March. That's for sure. They're going to be bent to the point we probably can't wear them anymore. But that postseason swag with the hats is definitely, maybe it's brought some good luck to UConn. I know we kind of switched off from not wearing them, and so maybe it has brought the team some good luck, hopefully. But the swag hats are back, and they're here to stay, definitely for March. And like I said, maybe it'll bring the team some luck.
Let's go the disruptive one, and then add in a comment from Alfred. Why are you guys bringing up Paige again? She is not relevant to the tourney videos. And then Alfred goes, Ryan, where was Paige tonight? Okay, well, that's why I'm concerned about South Carolina.
Yeah, and Paige definitely,
Come on, you can give it to him. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah, it definitely is. We've talked about Paige throughout the whole season and how she's injured. So, it definitely is disappointing, and we keep bringing it up, and I'm kind of tired of talking about it. So, hopefully we can move on to next season when we get out of March, and then Paige will be back healthy. So, but we're definitely focused on the tournament right now, and obviously she isn't playing. So, Paige Beckers is obviously not relevant for this tournament, that's for sure. But best believe when she comes back next year, she will be all too relevant for this team and hopefully lead us back to another national championship.
And we will have many episodes just on Paige Beckers just for you all. How's that, Ryan? All right. Any last news that you would like to cover? And again, I predict that you're going with UConn as well. Any last words before we head out? And we won't see everybody until approximately 6 o'clock Saturday.
Well, I mean, if UConn is able to win this game, of course, we either have Virginia Tech or Tennessee in the Elite Eight. So definitely Virginia Tech has been on a roll, maybe a surprising number one. They weren't ranked very high in the AP poll for the whole season, kind of made a run there. I believe won their conference and won the right to be a number one seed. So Virginia Tech Hokies, definitely a pretty scary team, but Tennessee would be an interesting matchup. UConn has already played them, beat them in Tennessee. So like I always say, it's hard to beat the same team twice. So I don't know if I'd rather see Virginia Tech or Tennessee. Either one would probably be a pretty good matchup.
All right. And let's go ahead and go with the tradition, like always. Why don't you tell your mom, Ryan, as soon as we head out, Climate Pledge Arena, and that is Saturday, March 25th at 4 o'clock. You know the tradition, Sweet 16. Why don't you go ahead and get the cookies, Ryan, in the oven and the little Hershey Kisses that she puts on top, and let's enjoy Saturday, okay? I'll see you right back here after the Sweet 16 concludes, Ryan. It's been a pleasure on Listen Up.